Hello everybody, welcome back to X-Men 12. We are in Vienna and we're flying to Venice on a short flight today. This I'll have time for. Well, maybe a little bit longer, but I found this to be interesting. And I've been really thinking that I should really start using some of these sceneries that I have paid for over the years. I have the Venice scenery, I've never flown there, so it's a good time to use it. I don't know if I've actually used this Vienna scenery either. I got it pretty recently. There's a bunch of idiots over here being idiots. But yeah, Vienna scenery by Gaia Simulations or something along those lines. I think that I've used this scenery before, one time, but I'm not 100% sure. We're here at a remote stand today, as this flight is using this particular stand. I'm looking on flight radar to see if this flight has departed. Yeah, he's departing right now, on time. So we're going to be a little bit behind schedule, just a few minutes. It's no big deal at all. The ground handling folks have done their job. This is actually a very good stand, I think. It's very close to the departure runway, and we just taxi straight out of here. Now we'll go and remove everything and everybody. I just realized I didn't even have the seatbelt sign. I didn't even have the no smoking on. Okay, so everything is on. Go and start engine number 2. Does it have weather radar? It doesn't have the newest weather radar. It has the older version of the weather radar. The Marco, the guy from X-Crafts, is very good at updating his products, though, so I'm sure it'll have the new one pretty soon. Alright, engine number 2, so we're starting engine number 1 already. Flight control checks, full left, full right, left, full right, full up, full down, full up, full down, full left, full right, full left, full right. It doesn't matter anyway, whether or not it has the weather. There's no bad weather on this route. Flaps 1.
No takeoff. Flap. Brake.
Brakes is fine, of course. The flaps are still coming into position.
No takeoff. Brake.
Okay, now it should be happy.
Takeoff. Okay.
planning to get this aircraft group soon? Now that you're back to X-Plane. I recommend it. It's quite good. It's not perfect. There's still some things that they could work on. But, oh, shit. Damn it. Reading the chat. It's quite good. Shut off the EPU. Definitely recommend it to anyone. Vienna traffic, Austrian 5, Bravo Foxtrot, taking off runway 16, Vienna traffic. I find it quite interesting. In the last about a month, I've done exactly 3 flights with the E-Jets, and all 3 of them have been on the Lufthansa group. I flew Air Dolomedia, I flew Helvetic, and now I'm flying Austrian. Doing mostly Microsoft 24, now I love it. X-Plane since the update. Microsoft seems so boring. I don't know. I've always preferred X-Plane. I'm never going to use Microsoft. I think I explained it to you. I explained it to somebody at one point. There's just no point in maintaining 2 sims like that. I don't see the point. I've always had X-Plane, so I don't care. I don't think Microsoft is better, but even if I did think it was better, it's not that much better that there's any point in upgrading or changing over. Alright, thrust about 40%.
Vienna traffic, Austrian A2, short final runway 11, Vienna.
This aircraft is very strange with the auto thrust on takeoff because it overpowers and then it comes back. You've kept both and it's not easy. Yeah, I bet it's not. 80 knots. You want rotate ILS and send straight through the runway. Mark of a great scenery there, attention to detail. That was sarcasm. It really has us climbing today. Vienna traffic, Austrian 5, Bravo Fox are clear of runway 16, Vienna. If I just hand it over to the autopilot, it can deal with whatever the hell it wants us to do. $210 for now on the speed. What you do is you use them mostly based on the airplane you want to fly. You're still even flying the INA 300 on X-Plane is still working fine for you. Yeah, I haven't flown the INA 300 in a while, but theoretically I would fly it. And I want to fly it on X-Plane. And I will fly it on X-Plane. I just haven't in a while because this thing is a rocket. VNAV and level change could use just a little bit of work. It's quite aggressive on this plane. I know it's amazing, it's just there's not many routes to do with it.
Yeah, traffic, Austrian 55 Charlie.
my haste to depart, I forgot to get the flight plan on my tablet here. There we go. Definitely getting this one soon. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. Very much so. You got the free version? The free version is okay without being very good. The free version is the old E-Jets. They were not the best. They were flyable, I suppose, but not really. Not authentic and not very good at all. But definitely for being free, they were very good because they're payware quality aircraft, but very low end payware quality. $20, $50 for the whole set, sure, maybe. No, it's not that good. Yeah, exactly. But for freeware, excellent. Come on, I had to stop the climb at fucking 9,900 feet. We got out of there just before all this chaos is starting, with everybody pushing and moving around. It's a very short flight to Venice. It's under an hour. We have 48 minutes left. It's not going to take 48 minutes. It has this enormous star plugged in. There's no point in doing half of it, even. Plan mode. Zoom in. Move this a little bit. Zoom in. In fact, I'll just do a little bit of a thing here. Papa Zulu 862. Leyland. There we go. It's not gonna take an hour anymore. Yeah. What is happening? Look at that. Just by coincidence, I managed to pick the exact same flight that was doing this in real life. Or the same aircraft, I mean. It just happens to have the best livery. That's the biggest reason why I chose it. Usually, if there's a pack or something like that, then I'll pick the correct aircraft, but I'm not too bothered about that. Alright. Yeah, let's see. There's a lot of sceneries I have for, particularly for Southern Europe. Greece, Italy, and Spain. And even, well, not so much Turkey, but Greece, Italy, Spain, and then some in France as well, and Germany. Just everywhere in Europe, basically. I have a ton of paler sceneries. Usually I got them when they were on sale. So I've stockpiled them, so I'm ready, and I want to use them more. I want to fly more to these places, which is why we're doing this flight today to Venice. I haven't used that scenery before, at least not in my knowledge. Yeah, we'll be there in about 30 minutes or so. Yeah, the VNAV still isn't the best, but it's pretty good. I don't know why it dropped the speed so much. Could go 0.77. Now here we are at cruise now. It only took us about 13 minutes to get up here. To be fair, it's only flight level 300, so it's not very high. It's very low cruising altitude. It's such a short journey. I think we're over Graz right now. Yes, this is Graz. I have a scenery for here, which is why the airport looks so nice. That's why I knew it was Graz. Another place I have to fly to, since I was talking about that just a few minutes ago. I heard that Laminar is working on an overhaul of the entire system, of the scenery of the entire system. You heard that Laminar is working on an overhaul of the scenery of the entire system. And Tolus and Flight Factor are making a new A350. Tolus and Flight Factor are making a new A350, and I haven't heard anything about Laminar overhauling the scenery. It's possible that I just haven't heard about it. Or that perhaps I heard about it in a different, with a different verbiage, with different words, and that I haven't connected the two. But I mean, it's entirely possible. But Flight Factor and Tolus are absolutely making a 350 together. Again. Based on how amazing the 777 V2 is, 350 is going to be incredible, you think? It should be. It really should be. We'll see when it comes out. But to be honest, it should be the perfect plane because Tolus is incredible at making systems. They're the best at making systems. Well, I mean, Flight Factor is also incredible at making systems for 777, obviously. But Tolus is incredible at making Airbus systems. I mean, Flight Factor's modeling is unmatched. So it should be the perfect plane if Tolus handles the systems and Flight Factor the modeling. If they do it the other way around, then they're crazy. So they're definitely doing it that way around. I just hope it comes out pretty soon. There's no hope that it comes out by the end of this year, but some point next year, hopefully. But there's actually a lot of planes I'm looking forward to. There's that, the 350, and I assume they're going to do both the 900 and the 1000. 900 first and then the 1000 a bit later. The rest of the Flight Factor 777s, 300 ER, the 200 LR, the freighter. I hope they do a 300 non-ER, but I kind of doubt that they will. Flight Factor 787, no idea when that's going to come out. Hopefully before 2030. What else? Hot Start is making an A220. That's the C series, the former C series. Really looking forward to that. Hot Start actually is one of the best developers. I don't have the Challenger. Just 'cause I would never fly it, even though it's very good. But their A220 I'd buy immediately. Oh yeah, it's probably gonna take time, of course. All of this, but the Hot Start A220. What else? Airfoil Labs is making a 737 Max. They're making all of the Maxes. They're making the 8 first, of course. They're progressing very nicely on that. Really look forward to that. That's that. The A320CO by Tolis should be coming out next month. Maybe the month after, October, November, sometime in there. If we're really lucky. I mean, no, there's no chance it comes out by the end of September. There's only 11 days left. But yeah, next month, hopefully. Looking very forward, very excited for that. What else? Flight Factor is constantly updating their 767 and 757. They're doing little tweaks to them to make them better. But yeah, a totally new one. I'd rather them focus on the 787 and the rest of the 777s. Solely because the 767 is it's already quite good, and it's an older plane, so there's not going to be many operators left once Flight Factor actually gets around to making a new one. Of course, ideally, I wish they would, but the one we have now is pretty good already. I'm missing one. ATR 72. There's some guy making an ATR 72 who posts about one picture, or no, he posts, when he does post, he posts like 10 pictures every month or 2 months or 3 months. He's very slow, but the pictures look very good. The plane looks extremely good, but the progress is very slow, and there's very little reporting done on the aircraft. That's the ATR 72-600. It's a guy called Skycats Labs that's making it. Yeah, it looks excellent, but it's just I don't know when it's going to come out. We're glad a lot of builders are coming back to X-Plane. Yeah. To be honest, there's not many coming back to X-Plane. It's the same ones that have always been in X-Plane. They're just making more projects now, and then there's new developers. Because Hot Start usually makes only GA aircraft, and same with Airfoil Labs, but they're expanding into commercial aircraft now, it looks like. Are we over Ljubljana? We're near there at least. This might be the airport. It is, yes, Ljubljana in Slovenia. I'll quickly run to the bathroom. Just 1 second. Alright, I'm back very quickly. Love 767, but your cabin guy in the 767's cabin is a bit outdated. That is very true. I kind of wish there was some way in X-Plane that you could build your own cabin, or that livery makers could make the cabin themselves. In other words, they could, like, how should I say? Like, they can put their own seats and stuff like that. It would be quite complicated, but I kind of wish that that was a thing. There's a base template, and then there's also, like, just an empty plane in the cabin, or the livery makers could make their own cabins. But that'd probably be too much to ask for. Obviously, it seems quite complicated. We're gonna start our descent here very soon. You tried? I assume you didn't get very far into that. Approach. 4 right. Cat 2 or 3 Zulu for 4 right. You've been trying a million things on changing 767 to 340, which you also hate the cabin. I don't mind the 340 just because the plane itself is so old. But yeah, I definitely know what you mean. But also something as simple as the TOLUS. There's no business class seats. I'd want at least the option to have business class seats in my TOLUS. No, not flight level change. Path. It descends automatically in path mode. Sometimes it is quite temperamental, but now it'll start descending automatically. It should, at least. The problem is you have to hit the VNAV button. The VNAV button does many different things, because sometimes the VNAV will go into level change mode, and sometimes it'll go into path mode. And as we saw, sometimes it goes into altitude hold mode. I don't know. Well, it only goes into altitude hold if it thinks that that's the correct altitude for the VNAV. Now it's happy. We'll go straight to the transition into IAS. Just double checking that it inputted this incorrectly. 109.95 is correct. I know it does that automatically. I'm just double checking to make sure that it was. Oh, I remember what I was gonna. The little ERJs, they are also coming to X-Plane 12. They should be coming by the end of the year. The 145 and the 140 and the 135 and the Legacy. I remembered that I forgot something when I was talking about new aircraft. Course is 39. Minimum is, there is no minimum. Great. I did not submit I did not post the screenshots. I shall do that. Go into my captures. sim screenshots. I guess it depends on the specific speed inputs. I don't actually know what it depends on. I think it depends on what mode it was in before. It's probably a toggle. It toggles many different modes in some way, but I don't know. It's just confusing to me. I wish it didn't use level change. If it was just path, then it would be excellent. VNAV would be perfect. But because it also toggles into level change, I just don't get it. I don't get why it needs to do that. And I don't get why we're not descending faster. I'll do FMC manage for speed. It wants 270. For whatever reason, this thing likes to fly quite slowly. Well, now it wants to descend. Okay. Excellent. Turn on the seatbelt sign. I'm perfectly fine with letting it be above the speed that it recommends. This is between 10 and 12 at Basug. Which is probably going to be really high, actually. 86 from the airport. From Basug, we're... yeah, we're going to have to delete this. Oh, I forgot to activate. That's another problem with Pathman, but actually we're just a little bit too high, it looks like. There we go. Deleted that constraint. And now we're smooth sailing. The A300. Similar issues with the descent paths on the A300. How does it work on the A300? It's managed by the autopilot. It's very similar to normal Airbus systems, from what I remember. It's been years since I've last flown it. I don't know. I don't know how to help you with that. I don't remember. I don't remember how to fly the A300. But I did, not too long ago, I did go from cold and dark to fully ready for takeoff. I do that every now and then in planes that I don't fly very often. A300, 747, MD-11, MD-80. Just to make sure I remember how to do it. If when I plan to stream it, basically. So I don't look like an idiot on stream who doesn't remember how to even start the engines on his plane. But I didn't actually fly it. I just did the startup. IXEG was teasing a 717 a while ago. They're probably never going to make it. If anything, Rotate should make the 717. The systems are very similar to the MD-11. I'd be happy with that. The A300 is a handful, but not as much of a handful as the MD-11. Both are quite fun to fly, I think. It's just the A300 has really bad frames on X-Plane 12. It's not very well optimized. From my experience, at least. Love the SSG. You're planning to get the Phoenix soon. The SSG 747, you mean, or which one? And then the Phoenix A320, I assume. I don't actually know how the Phoenix compares to the Tolus. To be entirely honest, I don't know. I've heard the Phoenix is better, but then I've heard the Tolus is actually there. No one, I don't think I've heard anyone say the Tolus is better, but I've heard people say that they're actually almost exactly the same, on par with each other. One other plane for X-Plane is the Delta Wing CRJs. They are not very good, to say the least, but they are, I think, I'll say this, they're the worst planes that I have that I've streamed. Because I have the Magnite, and the Magnite is so bad that I'm not going to ever touch that on stream unless they get a working FMC that is somewhat resembling of the real one, which it seems like is never going to happen. So I'm probably never going to fly the Magnite, even though the modeling and texturing is very good. It's very good. You should have a better understanding on the MD-11 for the most part. You need to get the passenger version soon before your wife kills you. Fair enough. But yeah, the MD-11, I understand it well too, but it's just more complicated than the A300. I just remembered that I haven't actually gotten my landing speeds. Temperature 24. They are landing on 4 right, I assume. Because 4 left is, it's not even a runway. Oh, you meant the Felis 747. I see. It's not the Felis 747. I've heard excellent plane. It's not one I'm interested in. It's too old for me, to be honest. But yeah, I've heard it's very good. You know, by the Magnet, we've heard so many bad things about it. Yeah, the Magnet is truly an awful plane. It has systems-wise, it's very bad. In terms of modeling and texturing and all of that, it's excellent, very good. But it's the opposite of Tolus in that sense. Very good modeling and texturing and very bad systems. We need a good 70s. We do. Flight Factor's making one. It'll take forever for it to come out though, but they are making one. Takeoff weight 44,000. We have 3,600 in fuel. That means we've lost 1,600, so 42.5 we'll put. We'll do flaps full, is fine. Landing. VREF of 124. V approach speed of 129. VAC speed of 143, and then VFS is 193. Okay, it's all happy. Plenty of runway to spare. Excellent. Turn on the landing lights. Well, I was gonna mention something about something. Oh, the Magnet is the opposite of the jar design in many ways, in terms of poorly or badish planes. The jar design, I actually defend it very much. It's not the best, and of course I agree with that. It's also not very expensive for X-Plane add-ons, in terms of X-Plane add-ons. But I do think that it's quite decent. I am doing the wrong thing. I meant to do that. 5,000. No, 3,000. Above is the next one. The jar design, I think, is underrated. And I don't enjoy flying it, but I do fly it occasionally. It has many quirks, but it's not as bad as people say it is. The jar design systems are actually quite good. Autopilot is quite good. Auto thrust quite good. LNAV, VNAV, all that stuff. The mech-do works quite well. The flight characteristics, not the best. Texturing, awful. And landing it can be difficult because sometimes it has a mind of its own. But other than that, it is actually quite good. Start slowing down to 220 now. At Kitsaf, I should be at 200. So we will slow to 200 by Kitsaf. There have been like no clouds on this flight. That explains a great many things about. I'm surprised I hadn't noticed that before. It's strange that I hadn't changed that over. I only noticed that in that turn. That I hadn't used the XP realistic preset that I use for all my aircraft on this one. Which is strange because I've flown this plane many times. So it probably reset or something. Have to look into if it reset for other aircraft as well. There's something else that was on my mind, which has escaped me. I mean, it's as easy as, when was the last time I flew this? Air Dolomiti. But I've flown this many times. Air Dolomiti was the 195. Oh yeah, it definitely looks like it doesn't have the proper XP realistic setting. So yeah, it's strange. I just didn't realize, which is quite odd. Okay, the real life flight is on short final. We are on final now, not short final, but on final. The runway is right there. Flaps 1. What am I doing? I'm doing approach mode. We're actually above the glide slope. Okay, in that case, I'm going to slow down to 170, flaps 2. Venice traffic, Austrian 5, Bravo Foxtrot, 10 mile final, runway 04 right, Venice. Okay, I'm not happy with how it's conducting this approach,
Autopilot.
including the auto thrust.
Throttle.
Lower the landing gear.
Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate.
There's no need to worry.
Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate.
I'm just catching up to the glide slope, and then
rate.
we'll be fine.
Sync rate.
Mr. Airplane.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Alright, there we are. Alright, so we caught it from above. Not something I usually do, but there's no problem with that. Didn't even need to lower the landing gear, to be honest. One other thing is arming the spoilers. I've never understood that in this plane. They don't arm. Unless they do, and there's just nothing that tells me that they arm in the cockpit. We're at flaps 3, flaps 4. We'll go flaps 5, there's no difference. We are at 4 miles out now, and we'll go flaps full. So we have the flaps coming to full, landing gears down. Trying to do our checks. Now we're a little bit below the glide slope. I think our trim's a little bit too far down. Actually, no, it's not. It's fine. A bit of a crosswind. It likes to descend, doesn't it? Guess we should add a bit more power. But we're still coming in quite fast. Maybe we do need to trim up. Oh yeah, the flaps are at full now. 3 greens we have. We have the auto brakes to medium. We're quite a bit left of the center line, actually. There's a forest in front of the runway.
500.
Very realistic, I presume. We're going to land at almost the exact same time as the real flight, which means we made up about 15 minutes in flight, I think. Easily. 10 minutes at least. But there's a lot of traffic in real life coming into here. Yeah, this forest is making it a bit difficult.
200.
So now we're obviously way too high, but it's okay. We'll float it a little bit.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
A little bit left of the center line. I tried to decrab it, but it was probably a bit early. Just to the reverse.
Auto brake.
It'll be much faster if we just get off here. Even though it's not really a taxiway that should be used probably for getting off. Oh, we stopped much faster than the real flight as well. Interesting. Hello, APU. Alright, welcome to Venice.
Venice traffic EZ640 radio check, please.
I hear you loud and clear, sir.
Thank you, Venice traffic EZ640, pushing back stand 325, facing south.
In real life, there's a taxiway there. They've used the remote stand every time. I'm just gonna use the runway to taxi. So that fire station doesn't exist anymore in real life, I guess. There's just a taxiway there. But that taxiway is not modeled. So we'll just use the parallel runway. I'm gonna taxi slowly. I'll wait for the real Austrian flight to get to his gate. Well, it's not really that important. Turn the logo light on. I don't know how an airline like Austrian doesn't get a gate here at Venice. All right, 435 is where they're going. Which is this one here. I use this view whenever there's no marshaller. It's just a lot easier than trying to figure it out from the cockpit.
Venice traffic EZ640, we're gonna be taxiing to runway 22 left via Quebec, Quebec Kilo correction, Holding short kilo for arriving traffic, then entering runway 22 right, taxiing via Tango and Juliet. Finish traffic.
I did not understand any of this. Beacon light off. I forgot to turn off the damn seatbelt sign like the idiot that I am. Ground objects. We can get the stupid people from this menu. Ground handling. We'll get all this equipment over. Alright, open up all the doors here. We'll pretend like this is the bus that they're getting on. This is the Venice scenery that I've never used before on stream. So there's a parallel taxiway there in real life, it looks like, nowadays. The scenery doesn't have that modeled. I should see if there's an update for it, though. It uses the old AutoGate system, which is part of the reason why I've never used this scenery. But I don't mind it parked at a remote stand, because the modeling is nice enough. It's not the best scenery. It's not the worst either. And it's out of date, so it is what it is. But yeah, we'll start our replays up once I get rid of this guy. Complete the flight. Get rid of those. Disconnect from the network. We'll see what happened here. Part of the reason why we floated, obviously, the trees, the forest, right before the runway. There's a bit of a cross. I kicked it over a little bit too early, and a little bit too much, actually. Not too bad of a landing. Way left of the center line, though, actually. Further than I thought originally. Yeah, it just drifted left. Okay, the tower view here is unusable. Ah, okay, so that's another thing here, is the center line is not aligned with the center of the runway because of X-plane 11 to 12 scenery conversion issues, or I guess everything's about 1 degree off or something between X-plane 11 and 12, which means some sceneries that aren't optimized for 12 have that where it's about maybe 1 degree of difference here. But obviously it's not a big deal, but it is interesting. I can't. I hate it when this woman starts talking. Alright, that's going to do it for this stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I should stream tomorrow. We'll see exactly what flight I do. If I do any. But as I said, I should do something. We'll see then, I guess. That'll do it for this one. I hope to see you guys in the next one.